Hey friends, Jill here. It's Saturday evening, so let's do a live about overeating. I know you really want this one. So I did a live the other day in one of my groups for my clients, my potential clients, on overtraining. And so I thought in my head, this goes right along with that. So let's talk about overeating tonight, okay? If you have any questions, you can ask them below. You can email me or message me or call me on the phone. All my information is at jillortizfitness.com, or of course here on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever you want to find me. So say hey when you get here and tell me, are you an overeater? Because we're going to fix that. I put together 4 main reasons why we overeat. Now, a lot of us think that we are just so bad at willpower and that we suck at nutrition, right? So tell me, are you one of those people who's like, I'm just so awful at willpower? Because it's not your fault. Number one, if you go to the free training on my website, it's at the top, jillortizfitness.com, and you go to free training, you're going to see how it's our brain that is sabotaging our willpower. We really don't have a ton of control, but it's really not your willpower anyways that is making you overeat, right? A lot of us think that at the end of the day, we've had willpower all day long and now we just don't have it anymore. So especially nighttime, because we've exercised that muscle that this is it. But there's 4 main reasons why you're overeating. And if you have any questions, I'm going to tell you now, but feel free to drop them below and I'll make sure to go over those. So number 1 is that so many of us are used to convention, right? We're used to eating out of habit, right? At certain meal times of day, right? We know that there's breakfast and lunch and dinner and those general times that people eat those meals, and you're used to eating at certain times or doing certain activities, right? Going to places. And so we start to eat out of habit as opposed to listening and being in tune with our bodies. And so I've been doing a cleanse the last couple of weeks, and I've actually lost 9 pounds. And in this cleanse, there's so much good food that even though I'm used to having my shake daily, which is really my favorite part of the day, and since I started taking a half of a cafe latte and a half of a chocolate and mixing them together to make this mocha shake, which I really love, it's really hard for me to not have my afternoon shake, which I've always been used to having at 4 o'clock. I always had it when the boys got off the bus because they'd come home ready for snacks and I'd be preparing snacks and eating their snacks. And so I always found it helpful to have my shake at about 4 o'clock. And by then I was getting tired anyways, right? And so I got in this habit. And so every day I think in my head around 4 o'clock, okay, it's time for my shake. But on this cleanse, I'm working on being more mindful. And so out of the 2 weeks that I've been doing this, there's been maybe 4 or 5 days or 6 days that I actually chose not to have my shake, even though I love it and I hate missing it. I know I'm getting the nutrients and other aspects of my day on this cleanse with other supplements, but I hate to miss it. But I've been tuning in to my hunger. And I think that that's something that we don't do enough, is we don't say to ourselves, am I really hungry, right? Think about the bread on the table at the restaurants. You go to the restaurant. Are you really hungry for the bread? Or are you just going to eat it because it's there and that's what people do when there's food on the table when you go to a restaurant and you're waiting, right? And so you have to think to yourself a little bit more, am I hungry or am I eating out of habit? What is my body needing right now? And I guarantee you, if you just listen to your body a little bit more, as opposed to doing what convention has said, like, who needs to follow convention anyways? Make your own things, right? Do things your own way. Find new paths, right? Maybe dinner's not going to be your biggest meal, right? Maybe you need a more substantial breakfast or a more substantial lunch. It's all up to you, and you got to listen to your body, right? So that's reason number 1, is eating out of habit and being out of tune with what our bodies actually want and need in the moment. Number 2, for why you're overeating is that you're eating way too many empty calories, right? So, we all have busy schedules. It's very easy to go get fast food where it's all ready and prepared. But think about, let's say you go to McDonald's, right? And you go through and you get a Big Mac and you get a bunch of fries. And these days, everything's about as big as you can get it, right? Supersize it. You get this huge soda and you're filling your belly with tons of food. And it's a lot of calories, right? That should fill you up. Yet you get home and you're hungry. And it's because you're not actually filling your body with the nutrients it needs. So when we're eating empty calories and foods that are not whole foods, foods that are not nutrient dense, then we're really not satisfying our body's needs. And so let's say you're at home, right? That is not fast food, but you're at home and at dinner, you have a big bowl of ravioli or a big plate of pasta, right? And you would think this big, heavy bowl of carbs should fill me. But the second you finish dinner, you're hungry, right? And you start going in the cabinets, you go to the refrigerator. Are you that person? Like, say yes. If you're that person who after dinner goes and stands in the kitchen, wandering around, opening everything. I used to be that person too. I used to open up the this and the that, take a handful of cereal, find the chocolate chips, go to the fridge, grab a piece of fruit, and nothing would satisfy me because I hadn't really eaten all the nutrients I needed at dinner and hit those nutrient needs. And so the body will continue to crave, right? That's what cravings are generally, is when you're lacking certain nutrients. So if you're eating the wrong calories and empty calories and your meals aren't balanced, then you're going to continue to be hungry until your body is satisfied with the nutrients that it's getting. All right, so the third reason why you're overeating, number one is being out of habit, right? You're just eating a bunch because it's time to eat. Number two is the empty calories. Number three is that you're not paying attention when you're eating. We're all so guilty of this these days. We're trying to eat through lunch. Maybe we're watching TV while we're eating dinner, or we're reading the paper while we're eating breakfast, right? And we're doing other things, or we're driving while we're eating. And we're really not even paying attention to the food that's going in your mouth. And if you're one of those people who says, I'm a foodie and I love food and I love to eat food, and eating is not just for fuel for me. It's, something that's important to me, right? I had somebody who said the other day that it was really important to her to have certain flavors and certain foods at certain events, or how can I go fishing and not have a beer, right? And so if if you're paying attention and your brain is processing that you're getting the flavors and the satisfaction from your food, then you'll stop eating when your brain is satisfied too, right? So first we talk about our organs and our body being satisfied by the nutrients it needs, but your brain also has to be satisfied that it got what it was looking for during the eating process, during your meals. And so if your brain isn't even in tune with the fact that you're eating or you're eating this nice food and it's really just focused on the media or something else, or the road or the paper, then it's not getting that satisfaction and you're gonna continue eating. But it also you can't even hear those signals or feel those signals that would be telling you otherwise that you're done eating, right? Because you're distracted. So not paying attention and not letting your body let you know when you're satisfied, that's going to make you eat more too. Who's the person with the bag of chips or the popcorn like this, right? Movie theaters. Do you know how much popcorn we eat at movie theaters? Have you seen those buckets? Do you go back for a second bucket because they refill it, right? Or the same thing with a soda, sucking down a soda and then you go back for more. What are you drinking? 64 ounces of soda during a movie, right? Because you're not even paying attention to what you're doing. You're literally just doing that out of habit. It's empty calories and you're not paying attention, right? So that's 3 of the 4. And then the last reason why you're overeating, and this is for you emotional eaters, right? I've got a lot of emotional eaters out there because I have a lot of calls every day talking to y'all, and I ask you, what's holding you back? And you tell me, I'm really bad at nutrition. And you say, I eat out of emotion or boredom or this or that. And a lot of that emotional eating is just the fact that we're not really giving ourselves a chance to process our feelings, right? We're looking for something else to fix how we're feeling. It's the same with medications, right? We have a big medicating problem in our country. We're looking to fix our problems with something external instead of dealing with our problems. And so when you start to eat to soothe yourself, right? Or you start doing drugs, or you start doing something else that's unhealthy to help that, you're really not solving the problem. You're masking the problem. And the problem with eating to deal with emotions is that, number one, the emotions are still going to be there. Your problems are still going to be there if you don't deal with them. Number two is that you're now adding the fact that you're going to be full and feel uncomfortable because you're eating. Most likely you're not like, I'm emotional, so I'm going to eat carrots. And I loved one of my trainers said on a video, and I can't even remember where it was, like, nobody overeats apples. Like, nobody's going, or celery, like nobody's eating like 10 apples or 2 things, 2 bunches, I still forget what they're called, heads of celery, you're probably eating the wrong thing, right? Like a sleeve of cookies, right? So now on top of the thing that made you feel emotional, now you have the fact that you just ate a sleeve of cookies and you feel sluggish and gross, but then you also have the added emotion of guilt, right? And shame that you just ate something that was not either on your plan or not something that is bringing you closer to your goals, right? And so it's really not productive to be dealing with your emotions with food. And so you really need to start finding a better outlet. If you have a lot of things that you're dealing with, number one, find somebody to talk to, right? There's no harm in having a therapist or a counselor or somebody in your religious affiliation who you can talk to. Number two, you can journal. You can write things down, because sometimes when you just take a pen and paper and you start writing it out, it takes the things that are here and it puts them there, right? And it just takes it out of your head, like brain dump, right? Other things you can do is exercise to burn off the steam, right? And give yourself time. There's breathing and meditation, right? And so these are just some other ways that you can process these emotions, but it's better to deal with them directly than to try to meditate or to help yourself with eating, right? So these are your 4 reasons why you're overeating. And hopefully the first step is identifying them and then figuring out which ones you're guilty of, and identifying not how can I stop those, but what are things that I can replace that with, right? And certainly, you can plan and prepare. You can start to make some mild and gradual changes. If you try to change all this stuff in one day, I promise you, your brain's going to say, hell no, right? And you're going to rebound, right? So that's why it's a really great idea also is to get a coach, right? And so if you want to work on these things and you're not sure where to start, or you need some techniques, then definitely reach out to me. If this was helpful for you, drop a comment below. If there's anything else that you feel that you need help with that I should be touching on, please let me know. And if you haven't, go ahead over to my YouTube channel and take a look at the video I did the other day on overtraining as well, because that's something else that I think is really important to be keeping in mind and helping you to be at your best on your journey. So you guys have a great night, and I will speak with you soon. Bye-bye.